Hey folks, and welcome to CarStars' 10 Wild Facts About Bubba's 68 Camaro Super Stocker in the 1976 film Eat My Dust. Fact number 1. There were at least 2 customized first-generation Chevy Camaros, one in 1968 and the other in 1967, used to portray Big Bubba Jones's short-track race car nicknamed Mabel. Street Customs Limited in Garden Grove, California, landed the job of building the cars. Scouting for unique and fast-looking cars, producer Roger Corman saw the shop's in-progress race Camaros and realized a pair just like it would fit the role nicely without stressing the only $300,000 film budget too much. Corman's team liked the idea of using Camaros not only because they were plentiful in Southern California, but because audiences instantly recognized their racing pedigree. Securing 2 nearly identical cars meant the crew could have both a hero and stunt car at their disposal. There's also a rumor that there was another mostly gutted-out 68 Camaro on set for donor spare parts when needed, and although I couldn't confirm that, it would certainly make sense. Street Customs Limited viewed the arrangement as a marketing opportunity. Supplying cars for a Ron Howard star vehicle promised national exposure, so the shop priced the pair accordingly and kept a loose ownership clause. That handshake partnership let Corman's unit roll cameras within weeks of first contact and forever tied the little Garden Grove shop to one of the most memorable Camaros of 1970s drive-in cinema. Fact number 2. The Camaros ran mildly upgraded but kept cheap 327 Chevy V8s. Amateur short-track builders of the day favored 327 and 350 cores because parts were plentiful and the blocks could handle decently high RPMs. Their setups for filming purposes were kept intentionally tame though, so that meant hydraulic cams, low-profile aluminum intakes, a single 4-barrel carb, and full-length headers is about as far as it went, producing around 300 gross horsepower. So not much more than stock, really. The goal was a fat mid-range bark and the ability to restart easily after repeated takes of aggressive driving, not big racing power as implied within the film. Both the Hero and Stunt Camaros kept their Muncie close-ratio 4-speed manual gearboxes. Using identical, lightly stressed drivetrains meant the production mechanics could interchange parts between the 2 cars in minutes if needed. The common spec cars also let Ron Howard rehearse perfecting his aggressive shifts without fear of grenading an expensive high-power race engine or transmission, while stunt coordinator Bob Miner knew the throttle response and gear spacing would be the same when he jumped into either car as well. Fact number 3. Chevrolet's first-generation Camaro burst onto the scene for the 1967 model year as GM's direct answer to Ford's runaway success Mustang, and it carved out its own unique identity in no time. Styled by a blend of GM's California and Detroit studios, the car wore a long hood/short deck profile that seemed equal parts elegance and aggression, a wide selection of trim and power options, everything from a thrifty inline-6 to the pavement-pounding 396 big block meant the Camaro could be anything a buyer wanted, whether that was a daily runabout with bucket seats and a power glide, or a weekend drag strip bruiser with a 4-speed and rally sport package. That flexibility helped launch a feverish option race within GM itself. The legendary Z28 package, created so Chevrolet could homologate a 302 small block for SCCA Trans Am Racing, gave enthusiasts a high-revving, road course-ready Camaro right from the showroom. Meanwhile, Central Office Production Orders, COPO, let savvy dealers sneak power-drunk 427 big blocks under the hood for customers chasing quarter-mile glory. These factory and quasi-factory hot rods didn't just sell cars, they jump-started a thriving aftermarket automotive performance culture. Its clean lines served as a measuring stick for Camaro generations that followed, and the car's highly customizable options and ethos of big V8s and small bodies, personalization straight from the order sheet, set a template that modern performance brands continue to chase today. Fact number 4. As for the custom work done to these Camaros for their role, Street Customs Limited started by stripping the factory trim and body panels until the Camaros were little more than shells, then grafted on their own fiberglass flare kit, wide front fenders, pumped-out rears, and pronounced front spoilers that gave the cars a menacing and planted racing profile. The RS headlights were covered with aluminum inserts, side marker and tail lights deleted, and custom black tubular push bars replaced the stock chrome bumpers. They were painted in a bright hugger orange, and of course the signature Big Bubba Jones lettering and black 8 ball on each door, along with the mischievous "Follow Me" text across the rear spoiler. Inside, some creature comforts disappeared in favor of pure driver safety. Both cars received full 6-point cages with NASCAR-style door bars, their doors welded shut for rigidity, and most interior panels stripped out for weight reduction. However, the stock seats and most of the stock dashboard remained, most likely since they had to stuff several people into the cars for some scenes, and matching quick-release race steering wheels were installed in both cars also. The cars rolled on period-correct turbine-style aluminum mags wrapped in fat Formula One super stock tires that filled the fender flares nicely. Taken together, the fender flares, cage, graphics, and track-ready hardware transformed these two F-bodies into the unforgettable Mabels that stole the spotlight. Fact number 5. So, how can we tell if we're looking at the stunt or hero Camaro, you ask? Well, the easiest way to tell, when it's in view, would be the driver's side rear view mirror. Most shots reveal the square 68 style rear view mirror, which is the hero car that we see on screen the most, whereas the lesser seen 67 stunt car has a round rear view mirror instead. Keep an eye on that mirror and you'll start spotting it peeking through interior angles too, because the crew often grabbed in-car dialogue in whichever car happened to be closest to the camera due to the rushed nature of filming schedules. Body details offer only very subtle clues. Since the hero car was a 68, the factory side marker pockets had to be filled in before being painted. Faint rectangles where that filler lived just ahead of the front wheel arch is slightly noticeable. Of course, since it is so subtle, it's very difficult to see within the film. The stunt car, being a 67, never had side markers to begin with, so its fenders are perfectly smooth in that area. Also, the vent wing quarter glass on the stunt car was removed on the 67 in order to mimic the 68, so we can't differentiate there easily either. Other than that, both cars had silver tape holding on the roll cage padding, but it isn't wrapped in quite the exact same place on both, of course, so that's another barely noticeable difference that's difficult to discern. That small detail creates another blink-and-you-miss-it continuity. So, it comes down to mostly the rear view mirrors being the biggest noticeable difference between the two, as they did a pretty good job keeping the two cars indistinguishable to the eye beyond that. Fact number 6. The odd, yet comical falling off of and then reversing back up and off the small shack scene looks so quirky because it was just a quick fix of a stunt that went wrong that they couldn't attempt a second time. The stunt looks simple on the storyboards. The Camaro drives onto the flimsy rooftop of a little shack, let the structure pancake under the car's full weight, and throttle straight back to the chase once on level ground. Stunt coordinator Bob Miner even pre-cut key support posts so the shack would collapse on cue, cushioning the drop and keeping the scene moving forward. However, although the Camaro hit its mark, the shack didn't collapse. Instead of just crumpling as planned, the roof held firm, and the car skated across the slick tin before nosediving off the edge. The sudden front-end to ground impact with the full weight of the car damaged the stunt car beyond economical repair, so that was the end of the 67 stunt car. With the stunt car written off and no time, or budget for that matter, for a rebuild, it was up to the editors to devise a quick fix in the cutting room by just reversing the footage right before the ground impact, transforming the would-be stunt into a comedy gag instead, in order to continue the chase sequence. So, except for that very brief moment when the stunt car slipped off the roof, the hero car is used for all other moments of that big chase scene. The patch sequence turned an on-set mishap into one of the film's more memorable and funny moments. Fact number 7. So, what happened to the heavily damaged stunt car after filming wrapped? Well, the hard landing off the shack left the stunt Camaro with its front subframe twisted, front-end fiberglass shattered, and the radiator slammed into the fan. Mechanics winched the car onto a flatbed, stripped off anything worth reusing such as the clutch, transmission, and a few suspension pieces, and the production declared the car totaled. A trucking outfit contracted by New World Pictures hauled the crippled and gutted stunt car to a nearby scrapyard in Santa Clarita the same week principal photography wrapped. There it sat for a short spell, recognizable only by its battered orange panels and 8-ball door graphics, before the yard's crusher reduced the body to a flattened stack of sheet metal destined for a steel mill. The one souvenir anybody kept was the round driver's side mirror, pocketed by a crew member who'd helped rig the shack stunt. Because the wreck never re-entered DMV records and no VIN documentation surfaced in collector circles, rumors of a surviving stunt Mabel crop up every few years, usually tied to tribute builds or other misidentifications. Yet every serious hunt ends at the same dead end. The original stunt Camaro was scrapped within months of filming, its steel long ago melted down and probably reborn as something far more ordinary. Fact number 8. When shooting wrapped, the hero Camaro was the lone Mabel still capable of driving onto the trailer under its own power. It spent a few quiet months parked in New World's Venice warehouse, recognizable even in the dark by its wide flares and sun-faded Hugger orange paint. Crew members who swung by to pick up lighting gear after other corpsmen shoots remember the car sitting nose out near the loading door, almost as if someone might roll cameras again for it. But storing a film car costs money like anything else, and Corman's accountants were meticulous. Early in 1977, the studio unloaded a batch of retired props in one swoop, and the hero Camaro went onto the same flatbed as a stack of battered police sedans remaining from his 1977 film, Grand Theft Auto. It landed at Don Borth Auto Wrecking in Sun Valley. Yard hands yanked the small block, the Muncie 4-speed, and a few bits of roll cage tubing that looked reusable. Everything else was put in line for the crusher. By spring's end, the hero car had also been flattened, shredded, and melted into re-roll steel, its brief stardom reduced to raw material. The car that practically outran half a county on film left no souvenirs beyond a handful of engine and transmission parts sold over the counter in a blurry Polaroid tacked to the wrecking office wall. Fact number 9. I know what some of you are thinking right now. Didn't I just hear that the hero car was rediscovered a few weeks ago? Well, that misconception is common due to Street Customs Limited having built a different but similar custom 67 Camaro soon after the movie wrapped, initially nicknamed Super Stalker 2. The car had the same signature flare fenders to flaunt their company's fiberglass kit at shows. It toured SoCal car events, posed on turntables at the LA Auto Expo, and landed dual features in popular hot rodding magazine, complete with glamour shots of its interior and exterior customizations. Because Super Stalker 2 was built by the same group with their same fender flare kit and small touches, similar to the movie cars, fans quickly conflated the two. The confusion only deepened when Street Customs slapped mock 8-ball door decals on the show car for a holiday parade, local papers snapped photos, and the legend of a surviving movie Camaro took root. In reality, nothing in this coupe's history matched the film cars, it never carried welded shut doors, and there are no telltale signs of it having been one of the film cars in the slightest. After the late 70s custom car craze cooled, the car bounced through a few different owners, each adding their own touches, like velour buckets, a pro-stock hood scoop, and so forth. By the 2010s, it had faded into obscurity until a Georgia collector unearthed it recently, dusty but intact. Once again, enthusiasts scrambled to connect it to Mabel, yet the paperwork proves it was always a promotional sister to the movie cars, yet never actually a Corman film star itself. Fact number 10. Looking into the scale model world, as you might have guessed since the film wasn't too big of a hit, there's no direct replica of the Eat My Dust Camaro available. However, there are fortunately many different manufacturers making several variants of first-generation Camaros at least. As for the die-cast model scene, probably the best quality super stock style of first-gen Camaro model that you'll find out there, although not having quite as extreme of bodywork, would be this 1/18th scale replica of Dave Strickler's 1968 Z28 super stock Camaro by a brand called Exact Detail Replicas. It may not be 100% like Mabel, but it has a similar vibe and is even already orange. These are no longer on the current retail market, but can be found for around $125 on eBay. For plastic model kits, although there doesn't seem to be any I can find available that have the same body flares as Mabel's, there are a few 68 and 67 Camaro model kits available on the current retail market, such as this popular 1/25th scale 2 and 1/68 model kit from AMT for around $27 on the current retail market that could serve as a base for a custom Mabel replica build. I will put a link in the description below to where you can pick one up for those interested. By the way, folks, I recently started a new and also film-related and similar format YouTube channel called Mind Litter. If anyone is interested in hearing more about our favorite movies and TV shows beyond just the cars, such as other behind-the-scenes info, filming locations, and actor-related tidbits and such, I will put a link in the description below for those interested in checking it out. Well, there you have it, folks. Thanks for watching, and make sure to hit that subscribe button if you like what you saw here. You guys are all great. See you next time.